It's the romance that's captured the world's imagination.
Millions of us are expected to watch the big day.
The commoner who captured a prince's heart.
As Prince William and Catherine Middleton prepare to spend the rest of their lives together, this is the story of two very different upbringings.
May we see your son, Your Royal Highness?
The boy who was born to be king.
This was the golden child, you know, this was the pictures everybody wanted.
A childhood touched by tragedy.
Diana, Princess of Wales, has been killed in a car accident.
Whenever I see an image of the princes behind Princess Diana's coffin, I imagine everybody feels like I do, devastated at the level of their loss.
And the girl who rose from humble beginnings to become one of the world's most famous women.
She hasn't really changed that much since I was in, primary school.
Every single boy couldn't take their eyes off her. She was completely stunning.
This is how fate and an eye-catching dress brought them together.
Kate was up on the catwalk looking amazing and certainly turned quite a lot of heads.
I think at the heart of it is a normal love story. It's the idea that it could have happened to anyone.
It's the story of a royal couple who will define the future of the British monarchy.
When I first met Kate, I knew there was something very special about her.
It was a total shock. Very excited.
It's official, there will be a royal wedding next year. Clarence House has announced that Prince William and Kate Middleton are engaged.
On the 16th of November 2010 came the announcement the nation had been waiting for.
A great day for our country, a great day for the royal family, and obviously a great day for Prince William and for Kate.
The most eagerly awaited royal wedding in 30 years.
We've been talking about it for a long time, so for us it's a real relief, and it's really nice to be able to tell everybody. It's my mother's engagement ring. This is my way of keeping her sort of close to it all.
It is very, very special.
So how did a normal middle-class girl find herself the future queen? Was it fate? Or simply a case of being in the right place at the right time?
I actually went bright red when I met you and sort of scuttled off, feeling very shy about meeting you.
The story begins 29 years ago. 1982 was the year of the Falklands War. Back home, unemployment had risen above 3 million. But amidst the doom and gloom came a welcome distraction.
The crowds began to gather just after 8 this morning, and they've stayed here all day in alternate sunshine and showers.
Prince Charles and Lady Diana Spencer had married amid euphoric scenes the previous summer. Now the nation waited expectantly for the arrival of their first child.
I think there was a mood of celebration. There was a great deal of optimism still at this stage for the married couple, for Charles and Diana.
Would you like to see a baby boy or a baby girl?
I would like her to have a boy, and I should think if she's having all this trouble, it's a boy.
Crowds gathered outside Buckingham Palace throughout the evening. Then at 10:25, their patience was rewarded with the formal notice of the birth.
Weighing in at 7 pounds and 1½ ounces, Prince William of Wales was born just after 9 p.m. on Monday the 21st of June.
At St Mary's, Paddington, their euphoria overflowed into song.
Royal princes and princesses are traditionally born at palaces, but not for Prince William. He was born in a hospital, and he was born at St Mary's in Paddington. And that was really the start of Diana's decision to give William a normal upbringing.
The baby prince made his first public appearance, aged just a day old.
May we see your son, Your Royal Highness?
Prince Charles came out and he was so excited, and I remember climbing over the barrier and going up, shaking his hand and saying congratulations, and he was so happy. It was just unbelievable.
That same week, in the more tranquil setting of rural Berkshire, there was another celebration taking place. the christening of baby Catherine Elizabeth, the first child of Carol and Michael Middleton.
Kate was christened that June in the local church, which is on the River Pang. Her mother wore a Laura Ashley dress, which was very fashionable at that time, and her father wore a traditional dark suit.
While Prince William grew up in the grandeur of Kensington Palace, Kate's childhood home was this Victorian semi in the village of Bradfield Southend. Bought by her parents in 1979 for £35,000. It was a humble start for a little girl destined for greater things.
In those days, Carol and Michael Middleton didn't have pots of money. Carol trained as an air hostess and was working for British Airways, and Michael was a flight dispatcher. They met in the 70s at the airline and got married shortly afterwards.
The family emigrated to Jordan for Michael Middleton's work when Kate was aged just 2. When they returned to Berkshire 2 years later, she was enrolled in the local prep school St Andrews at Pangbourne.
She went to Brownies, she'd be part of after-school clubs. She really excelled on the netball court.
Her teachers say that she was very studious. Her school friends and acquaintances say that she was sporty, that essentially she was a pretty nice girl. The most critical thing I've heard about her is perhaps she was a bit goody two-shoes.
Like every good middle-class girl, Kate was sent for piano classes.
I met Kate when she was 11. She came for piano lessons between the ages of 11 and 13. She was actually very confident. She was very bubbly, a lovely person to teach. She was always very loquacious. She was always talking and having fun in her lessons. I don't think anybody ever thought she was going to be a concert pianist, but yeah, she was good. She happens to be a future princess and a future queen, but at the time she was just another girl.
Perhaps not a concert pianist, but at the age of 13, Kate did manage to land a starring role in Murder at the Red Barn, a school play in which she was proposed to by a young gentleman called William.
I wish to marry you.
To marry me?
Will you, Maria?
It'd be all I'd ever longed for.
She was very nice. She was quite shy. She was sort of kept herself to herself, really. But lovely, lovely girl. I think everybody liked her.
To marry me.
She wasn't the one that all the boys went for at the time. Probably because she was a bit taller, I think, maybe. I don't know. Does that put some men off? Probably. I don't know.
Oh, how my heart flutters.
She hasn't really changed that much, I don't think, and certainly her personality doesn't appear to have changed that much since I was in primary school.
Prince William would also spend his early years performing for the cameras. But this was a very different childhood to the middle-class normality enjoyed by Kate Middleton. Photo calls were a part of everyday life for the young prince. And whether he liked it or not, his every move was front-page news.
This was the golden child, you know, this was the pictures everybody wanted.
Look through that. You can see things going on inside it. Look, see the faces. There are people in there. There you are. Ooh.
Everybody was taking pictures of him because, you know, he was the little star.
There was soon to be a new addition to the family, younger brother Harry. And at the age of 4, William's education began at Wetherby School in West London.
His first day at school, which I recall quite vividly, we left Kensington Palace and we got in the car and Diana said to him, now, you know, William, this is a very important day in your life, so you need to be very careful. And he said, what do you mean? He said, well, she said, there are going to be lots of photographers there. And he said in this sort of just William way, I don't like photographers. Yeah, I know, but you've got to get used to it, William, said Diana. This little kid said to William, excuse me, is it true that you know the Queen? And William sort of just looked at him and said, Don't you mean Granny?
I remember one picture I've got of, in fact, he's going to run on the polo field, and his nanny's grabbed him, and she's scolding him, and William's face creases into tears. And I remember what happened afterwards. He ran to his mother, and she sat him on his lap, and she soothed him.
As time moved on, William was obviously very aware of who he was. You know, he sort of chauffeured the school. He lived in a big house. It didn't take too much to realise that there was something rather special about him. But to his credit, and certainly to the credit of his mother, she tried desperately to make sure that he had as normal as an upbringing within that royal line as possible.
She went about this in quite a regimented fashion. She said there will be play days and work days. And on play days, the boys, from a very young age, were allowed to put a pair of jeans on, a T-shirt, baseball cap, you know, behave like ordinary young men. And they loved it, absolutely loved it.
Diana would take William and Harry to McDonald's, theme parks, Thorpe Park, Alton Towers, whatever. We even went on the tube and the underground and the London bus. This was Diana's idea of saying, well, look, this is what normal, everyday people do.
My experience of Princess Diana was that she was a sort of princess in how she behaved when she was working. But at home, she was just like the rest of us. When she came to us, she did the washing up, she mucked about, you know, made jokes. So I think that's what her sons must have always seen.
But even at an early age, William was starting to realise the challenges that lay ahead.
I remember sitting with Diana in her drawing room at Kensington Palace, and whenever we chatted there, there'd be pictures of the boys all around. She looked at William's picture and she said, he does feel the burden already on his shoulders that one day he'll be king. And I think that has been a characteristic of him throughout.
In the eyes of the paparazzi or the tabloid press, if there's a better story than a royal marriage, it's a royal marriage in chaos and crisis and breaking down.
We did have, obviously, a few posters on the wall of boys. She had Prince Harry and Prince William, but Prince William was the big poster.
By 1992, 10-year-old Kate Middleton was studying at St Andrew's Prep School in Pangbourne. Meanwhile, Prince William was just 20 miles away, having enrolled at Ludgrove boarding school. For the young prince, it would be a year to forget. He had grown used to his family constantly being in the media spotlight, but now they were making headlines for all the wrong reasons.
In the eyes of the paparazzi or the tabloid press, if there's a better story than a royal marriage, it's a royal marriage in chaos and crisis and breaking down.
Reports are circulating in Westminster that a statement will be released very soon about the future of the marriage of the Prince and Princess of Wales.
His behaviour did start to change during the breakup of his parents' marriage. At one stage, I think a boy made a comment about it, and he grabbed one of them and flushed his head down the toilet in the school and was actually reprimanded by the headmaster and severely ticked off. I know this because I wrote that story, not knowing at the time what the poor lad was suffering.
1992 is not a year on which I shall look back with undiluted pleasure. It has turned out to be an annus horribilis.
Everything was going wrong. That year particularly, you know, his mother took part in writing the Andrew Morton book.
The motivation was to tell the truth. For once, forget the propaganda, tell the truth about what's really going on, because we do face a crisis in the House of Windsor. It's obvious to everyone.
There was the breakup of Andrew and Fergie's marriage, there was the Windsor Castle fire. It was one thing after another, all about this young boy's family. It must have been hell for him, it really must.
But while the House of Windsor was in turmoil, the Middletons were going from strength to strength. Thanks to the success of the family business, a mail-order company selling children's party paraphernalia.
I think what's so remarkable about the Middletons is the fact that Michael and Carol, well, Carol particularly, had this vision to make party pieces into a great business, which they did. They became self-made millionaires.
As the money rolled in, Michael and Carol sold their house in Bradfield, Southend, and moved to the well-heeled village of Bucklebury, where neighbours include Kate Bush, Chris Tarrant, Melinda Messenger. It's a quintessential English village which wouldn't look out of place in Midsummer Murders.
Kate would spend 2 terms at the all-girls school Down House, where it's said she suffered bullying. Her parents soon moved her to the £13,000 a year Marlborough College. By the summer of 1997, 15-year-old Kate was captain of the school hockey team and studying for her GCSEs. But like the rest of us, she'll never forget where she was on the 31st of August that year. The summer had begun for William with a holiday in Saint-Tropez with his mother and her new boyfriend, Dodi Al-Fayed. And wherever Diana went, photographers followed.
And I remember we were in Saint-Tropez in those last few months of Diana's life, and Diana came over to our boat and she said, look, Williams can't cope with all this pressure, you know. And she said, you know, William said to me, look, why don't we go and live abroad? Why don't you go and live in exile?
The holiday over, the young princes flew back to Britain to spend time with their father at Balmoral, unaware of the tragedy that was about to engulf their lives.
We have reports from Paris that Diana, Princess of Wales, has been killed in a car accident, and that her partner, Dodi Fayed, has also been killed.
Diana, Princess of Wales, has died.
It looks as though the princess has died about 4 hours after the terrible accident that had befell her and Dodi Fayed.
The boys were asleep up at Balmoral. They were there with the Queen and with Charles. The decision was taken by Charles and the Queen, I think, not to wake them when the news came through. Charles went in the early hours of the morning and told them the news. Who knows what went on in that room? It must have been utterly, utterly devastating. Eventually, after a few days, the public pressure for the Queen to make an appearance was such that she and the boys came outside the gates of Balmoral one evening and looked at all the flowers and tributes to Diana, which must have been devastatingly awful for those boys.
With Prince William, I just remember how brave he was in the subsequent days after she died, because it was his moving gestures when he went to shake hands with people, thanking them for their kind words, was so brave.
Thank you so much.
It showed that he had sort of a natural grace and nobility about him to rise above his own personal trauma.
I think that the nation surprised itself by being so grief-stricken over Diana's death. I mean, looking back, maybe it was some form of mass hysteria, I don't know, but William and Harry were right in the middle of this maelstrom.
Whenever I see an image of the princes behind Princess Diana's coffin, and I think when any of us see those images, I imagine everybody feels like I do, just incredibly protective and devastated at the level of their loss.
I was outside Westminster Abbey, and it was quiet. It was quiet, thousands of people there. And you could just hear the clip-clop of the hooves of the horses as the coffin went by, and Harry and William and their father were walking behind. And all you could hear was the sobbing of people. I mean, not weeping, but absolute sobbing.
Never being able to say the word mummy again in your life sounds like a small thing. However, for many, including me, it is now really just a word, hollow and evoking only memories.
At Marlborough College, Kate Middleton was excelling academically and had become a popular student with a close circle of friends.
I shared a dorm with Kate for 2.5 years, along with 3 others. And we not only shared a dorm, but we played sport together. We were in the county hockey team, which she was the captain of. As soon as she arrived at Marlborough, she just shone through. When she first got to Marlborough, we had a summer holiday soon after. And she went away, and when she came back, she just looked completely different. She'd, you know, her hair had grown and she grew curves. As soon as she got back, every single boy couldn't take their eyes off her. She was completely stunning, yeah. In the dorm, mostly, we talked about boys, you know, general things that, you know, girls talk about. We did have, obviously, a few posters on the wall of boys, as you do. I think I had Leonardo DiCaprio at the time. She had Prince Harry and Prince William, but Prince William was the big poster.
The story of Kate's poster of Prince William didn't take long to surface when their relationship became public. But Kate remembers things differently.
There's a story that goes the rounds that you had a picture of him on your wall as a child.
There wasn't just one, there was like 10, 20.
He wishes, no. No, I had the Levi's guy on my wall, not a picture of William, sorry. Sorry.
It was me and Levi's, honestly. Yeah.
But the rumours have persisted that Kate was smitten with William even as a teenager, and that she may have caught her first glimpse of him in the flesh when he came to play sport at Marlborough.
In the school magazine at Marlborough, there was apparently a photograph of Kate and William on the same page, the sports page, where he was photographed playing polo. He was obviously up there from Eton, and she was playing hockey. And later, apparently, one of her friends told me that she used to call that her kismet photograph. It showed that fate had brought them together.
If Kate did have her sights set on the handsome young prince, she wasn't the only one.
There is a new star in town. A tall 15-year-old with a demure smile and his mother's looks is the very latest teenage heartthrob. Welcome to Will Mania.
William found himself a global heartthrob and was greeted like a pop star on a visit to Canada in 1998.
There was a walkabout or two in Vancouver, and we were all there, all the press. And the girls were going mad for William.
And I love him, and he said hi, and he shook my hand. He touched my hand.
Absolutely potty, you know, holding up signs, marry me, William, and he's for me, and I touched him. They were going absolutely crazy. I think William kind of both loved it and was embarrassed by it.
After completing his studies at Eton and keen to evade the spotlight, William chose to spend his gap year before university overseas. As the new millennium dawned, the prince went to Chile on a charity expedition for Rally International.
I think the point of William's gap year and the benefit of William's gap year was one, that it got him away from Britain and from the intense and relentless media scrutiny that both William and Harry are always under. And it allowed him as well to have a sort of stab at normality. And I think he needed that.
To be honest, no one knew there was a Prince of England in the midst until he arrived.
Expedition leader, how are you this morning?
Feeling great.
That's good.
The whole project group lived in one room, sleeping on mats, with one toilet between them all, a small cooker in the corner, and the incredible thing is that was the future king.
Still smell it, still pops.
And he also spent time working with the local school.
When you catch the ball, you say, "My name is Will. I am a wombat."
He was absolutely fantastic with kids. He was a DJ for a day.
And for any of you people who are in a bit of a mood for love, this song is for you.
He had to cook for the rest of the project group, and he had to clean toilets. Did he complain? No, he didn't. He was absolutely fantastic.
While the future king was getting back to basics in Chile, Kate Middleton spent the first 3 months of her gap year in the renowned art galleries and cafe bars of Florence. By sheer coincidence, Kate then went on the very same charity trip that William had experienced in Chile.
They did the same expedition, 6 weeks apart, neither knowing that they would meet each other in the future. That was a massive coincidence looking back now.
I think the fact that Kate went to Chile to the same project that William had just left about a month before showed that they were already starting to move in the same sort of circles, that they shared sort of similar interests. So their paths almost crossed.
Kate may have narrowly missed out on meeting William in Chile, but she wouldn't have to wait long for fate to take its course.
The small university town of St Andrews had never seen anything like it.
She was known as Beautiful Kate almost from day one.
It shows confidence to show your underwear in front of people, and knowing that a prince is there as well, I think that she may have known what she was doing.